Hi, Kami. Thanks so much for coming on this podcast today. And so this is the Jon Owly Podcast. We're going to cover a lot of things from life, business, relationships. And so, Kami, you're a spiritual and mental health coach. Can you maybe tell a little bit about who you are to the audience?
This goes a long way, to be honest. So basically, I started off studying visual merchandising first, promotional design, branding, all that kind of stuff. And I thought I would just become a designer. But I guess along my way of doing visual merchandising, I feel like I was just designing a lot of things to just program people's subconscious in order to make them buy shit.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like maybe it wasn't what I really feel aligned to. The only thing I liked about it was that I could actually turn my imagination into something that's real, like say a window display or like an interior display. I really loved that, the creativity of it. But see, when I got to the point where I feel like I'm using all the lighting, the sensation, the colours, whatever, to manipulate people into going in a store to spend longer in it, just to target them to go to like a point of sale, I feel like I'm like ruining people's minds in a way just to make them buy, but I have no soul or no purpose. Like I'm not helping them in any way. I'm just making them purchase. I feel just like a demon sucking people's blood dry.
So that's why you moved into the coaching, spiritual, mental health. I mean, right now, mental health is quite a big issue. Especially since the pandemic. People are struggling so much, and I think what you're doing is very helpful to the world. I mean, particularly because you are a British-born Asian. So one of the reasons I started this podcast is because I think there's not much Asian representation online, like podcasts and things like that. And I guess maybe audience seeing us here and talking about, problems, life in general, it might help them to relate. And I want to obviously make a positive impact. And I think us speaking about our experiences will help a lot of people, especially who are similar to us, our backgrounds. We're both born in Scotland. Our parents were both from Hong Kong. So I think that timer's not on. Can you press start on that?
Yeah. So I think it's actually an hour, so I'll bump up to an hour and a half.
Thank you.
I don't know how far this can go. Can be helpful sometimes. Keeps you on track.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got 5 topics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So divide that.
I think we'll be okay on it. Let us know when we're good.
Okay, cool. So
actually, Johnny, I want to ask well, thanks for having me on this podcast. It is like our first time on a podcast, and you've booked this really amazing place. It's quite interesting actually, because I love the lighting and everything is all set up nicely. And I want to know, like, what is your reason? Like, tell us about like why you set up this podcast and like who you are first, because I want to know that as well. I think people want to know like why you set this up. So like, just go with it and see. Like,
so obviously my name's Jonathan. John's just easier, and then Owly is a brand I started, a glasses brand. So basically, one of the main reasons I started this was because I feel like there's not much Asian representation in the world. And especially me growing up, I didn't have many Asians to look up to, especially not like British-born Asians. No. I mean, my dad was working all the time, 6 days a week. He's always away. I didn't really have any role models. And I think that this podcast would be quite helpful to people just like us, I guess. You were also born here, or both our parents from Hong Kong. What about you in terms of when you were growing up, role models? Did you have any Asians that you looked up to?
As a bilingual, I struggled a lot with culture, language, and my appearance, because I've always feel like I'm an outcast, being left out, and the bullying was bad as well. And I feel like talking about this topic will help when it comes to racism, because a lot of people, we judge people, we all do. You know what I mean? It's just it's a human thing. But the thing is, like, when we judge a race, a culture, it's because we don't understand their language, as in their culture, how they represent, how they express. So I feel like don't know, like when it comes to this kind of stuff, I didn't really have a role model. I was by myself at school. I think I was one of the first Asian people in my school. I went to quite a rough, like schemy school, man.
Yeah.
So I've been through like getting your hair, like, you know, setting fire, chewing gum stuck in your hair. You know, maybe throwing chairs at the teacher. You tried to fit in, so you would wear like those like gold Neddy rings, Bear Gauze or Fred Perry stuff.
Yeah.
I had moments.
You were
before.
very hip hoppy as well.
We had like these things at school where we call like this emos and Neds and stuff like that, right, in Scotland. So if people are listening from, let's say, Hong Kong, they have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. Neds, but in down south they call it chavs. So basically, like you either fitted in or you either didn't. But obviously it's really hard for me because at home our parents spoke Cantonese and also there was a bit of Hakka. It's kind of like Gaelic and Scottish, basically. Like, so that's the difference. And I think having that upbringing kind of confuses you because on the other side everything's so laid back at school and it's a different culture because you're so used to that culture. But then back at home, your parents are really strict on you, like beating you with bamboo sticks, saying that you're like worthless.
Actually, on my butt area, there's scars. But
everywhere.
Obviously, it's not allowed now, capital punishment. But it definitely made me, you know, listen to what my dad and mum were saying, even if they weren't like good, you know, even if they weren't right, you know. But they were first generation, and we were like second generation, and things were different.
All they cared about was actually just making money for the home and having like food on the table for the kids to raise them.
For my parents, they were very focused on education. Like my dad would want me and my brother to learn to be well educated. My dad would work all the time, so he can afford tutors. And my brother, he went to a public school and he was bullied, as you said, hair set on fire.
Did he get long hair like me? Does it
cut or shaved or, you know, beaten?
Cut like what?
Well, he'd come home bald. No, but we're laughing about it now, but at the time as a child, it's very traumatizing, right?
Yeah.
And they would also call him the C word. They'd call him, you know, chink. And it's not very good. My brother was very unhappy, and so that was a public school. My parents, my dad, they were heartbroken, and, you know, for me, they sent me to a private school because of that. And for me, I didn't get that much bullying, but my brother did.
Look at you.
Yeah. Well, my dad worked really hard.
I know.
And obviously you've been exposed to bullying a lot. Like I haven't actually gotten that much bullying. I know that I did get some, but not like a lot. So to me, it's not as, you know, I don't get it. I don't feel it as much, but I think you do, right? Because you experienced it. Yeah. And nowadays, do you think bullying and racism is still prevalent for us Asians in Scotland or UK?
It still exists, like everywhere at any age, no matter what age you are. Because, I mean, it's not going to stop because people have their own perspective on certain things. So if they judge someone by how they look or what their race is, what they believe in, then what you can't do anything.
You can't really do
it.
anything. It's just
it's your own
nature.
point of perspective, basically.
So, Kami,
actually, before we move on to the next thing, I want to ask you, can I see your glasses?
Oh yeah, the Owly glasses. So this is so I'm an optometrist actually. So I studied like, you know, 8 years to become an optometrist.
Yeah, open it, like show us, man. Like, don't be shy. So what's can you like explain like what is special about your glasses and like who usually buys them, kind of thing, and like how does it help with people and stuff like that? That's
so
cute,
these
box.
are very that's the Owly logo. I designed it with with one of my friends. She's a really good designer, and it stands out. It pops, and I actually managed to trademark the name Owly, which is crazy because nobody trademarked it for glasses. And so these are just reading glasses.
Right.
It's very simple because you know how you see reading glasses in the supermarket. They're just like cheap ones. They break all the time. Like I have patients coming in and they break their glasses. They're like probably like 5 pairs in their handbag and they always break, the screw falls out. So like they keep replacing it and they're not comfortable and they're not clear. Like, well, why don't someone just come up with like a, you know, premium pair of reading glasses you can buy, last a long time. So it took me 1 or 2 years to design this and manufacture it. So it's a very cute case. As you can see, a lot of customers like to put their jewellery in this box. It's like a gift box. And they're specially designed to be really thin. So it's only 7 millimeters thin because the screw is actually in the front plane of the glasses. And it comes in this cute case as well.
Oh, it's got the wee Owly button.
It's the Owly button, so it's because I have patients for
check it
arthritis, right?
Let's see.
And that's why there's a magnetic clasps, because patients with arthritis cannot open the case.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
That's a really nice touch, because see, just doing it like that.
That's cute, isn't it? It's so
better.
handy.
It's better.
Yeah,
And even like
just
if you're
clasp.
at night or in the morning when you're getting up, you're trying to like look for your glasses, just, yeah.
Easy to access. So, yeah, that's it really. And
So I quite like, did you say your glasses have blue light? Because I
blue-
don't wear
blue
glasses.
blocking.
My
Yeah.
mum and dad, they've actually bought.
Yeah, your mum and dad's
So I
birthday,
want
yeah.
to talk about what is the blue light? Like, what does that even mean? Because I don't wear glasses. I don't understand that.
Right. I mean, so during the pandemic, especially, we're all on the digital screens on Zoom and stuff like
Yeah,
that, and
like
we're all getting
constantly.
headaches. And so the blue blocking basically blocks potentially harmful blue light from computer screens. If you're on it for a long time, it will make a difference. They don't have it as standard now in reading glasses because it's a bit more expensive to put them in, but I have in all of my reading glasses because a lot of patients have said that it helped them when they're on the screen a lot. Studies have shown that it helps you with sleep better, especially if you're on your phone at night and stuff. Because basically the blue light from the screens activates the cells in your retinal cells at the back of the eyes and tells you that it's morning, it's time to wake up.
bright.
That's the blue light.
Yeah.
That's what that effect has. So it blocks melatonin, so without melatonin production, you can't sleep that well. So blocking blue light allows the production of melatonin, which is natural, and helps you sleep better. So sleep is so important, right?
Yes.
And if we're nowadays, since we're on digital all the time, it's like we're not sleeping as well. We're getting, some patients say it helps with their headaches or migraines. That's just anecdotal. Like, studies haven't shown that is the case, but a lot of patients have said it has helped with that. So, yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, they're very thin. Don't really leave any marks on your nose. And the reason I went for like a pop colours, there's the red, blue, because it pops. It's more
Yeah.
trendy. A lot of customers, we've got 2,000 customers so far, and very good reception. They said that they get noticed because it pops, the colour pops, and they like the style.
It's quite nice at the side. It's quite thin as well. Like, it's got
Really
that-
thin,
It's
yeah.
quite smart looking.
Yeah.
I feel like
Doesn't-
it's quite smart. Like, makes you look smart when you're wearing glasses.
I'm like a minimalist, right? So that's why I wanted to be thin as possible, light as possible. So it's got special materials. Like TR90 is a Swiss thermoplastic. So it makes it very durable, flexible, and light. And the lenses are polycarbonate, so it doesn't break that easily. Polycarbonate is in safety specs if they are, if you're in like work environments. So it's got all the good stuff. It is a bit more expensive than your cheap reading glasses over the counter, but it lasts like a long time.
And you've got like wee screws, haven't you, inside it to help people like adjust, haven't you?
So this screw, it's in the plane of the glasses. So normal glasses have the hinge, and that actually adds like an extra 5mm of thickness. So, and also is exposed. So you sit on it, or you break it more easily because the screw comes out because it's exposed. But this one, the screw's in the plane of the glasses, so it's hidden, it's protected. So it's not as easily unscrewed, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Actually, talk me through your process of going through your business, going through this and your background, because like you studied this since you were at college or uni, and then it took you now to here. So like, how was that for you? Because I know obviously it looks really nice right now, we're talking about it, but obviously behind this there's a lot of hard work.
Oh yeah,
a lot of sleepless nights. How was your life?
This will be too long.
Okay. You have a brief like chat about it if you want, just like how you figured out how to find it, because a lot of people struggle with starting up their own business and what they believe in and stuff like that. Like, what is your simple advice or simple steps that you would advise people starting up their own?
So I started off selling other people's stuff. It's called affiliate marketing.
Yes.
And I learned Facebook ads, and I was basically running Facebook ads in 2016, 2017. So I bought a course that someone taught me how to do it. And then at that time, nobody was advertising on Facebook. So it was easy. It was so easy. Like, you'd pay like £1 and you'd get like £10 back.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Now it's £6 or something.
Now you have to pay £1 and you get like 20p back. It's really hard because everybody's going to Facebook ads. Now even your grandma's probably on Facebook ads selling her candles or something. So it's a lot harder now than it used to be. Your mum, dad, grandma's on Facebook ads now. In 2016 it was not like that. But it is harder now for Facebook ads, but there's other platforms like TikTok, there's YouTube. There's other forms of marketing like podcasting, what we're doing now. There's Google ads, YouTube ads. There's so many ways, right? Cold calling, just get a number, call someone.
Have you done that?
I haven't done that. But I don't need to do that for my business.
Imagine.
But if you're offering a service, then that, yeah.
Imagine like, hi.
There's the Wolf of Wall Street, like, come buy my stocks, right?
I feel like that's so awkward. I don't know if I can do that. Cold calling, but I guess it works.
Cold calling is just a form of lead getting leads for your business, but it's not the only way. It is a way to do it. So you asked how to start. I mean, like, work for someone who's doing what you want to do. And then once you've learned enough, once you've, gotten that experience, then start your own thing. Yeah. That's kind of what I did. I sold other people's stuff. Yeah. That's the best way to do it. Like,
because I guess you're learning where you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like drop shipping, I feel like marketing, you're going to learn the ins and out of like how to use the website overload plugins and stuff like
exactly.
that. And I guess there is like, see, the thing is like, we've become so lazy, even though we're so modern and advanced as human beings, that information is at the end of our fingertips. We can just Google or chat, like GPT, everything.
GPT,
at the end of our fingertips, but we don't actually go and do it because we're too lazy.
Yes,
we take things
it's crazy that's why we don't do it. Our grandfathers never had this technology. No. It's ridiculous how much access we have nowadays with online. It's just nobody's taking people aren't taking advantage of it. I feel like a lot of businesses I see are not even on Instagram or Facebook. It's like they don't seem to get that online presence is quite important. And now with AI, right? Like, unless you have a personal brand, it's like, who are you? Nobody knows who you are. At least with Owly, like, my face is on it. If you buy like glasses,
the eyes.
Yes, well, no, that's the thing. People know who you're buying from; they trust from you more, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you buy from like a big company, like who's behind it? Like, who's accountable? Between if they sell you bad stuff, who owns Procter & Gamble? Nobody knows. No idea who you're buying from. But you buy from Owly, it's from me. I'm reputable. I'm an optometrist. So nowadays, if you don't have a personal brand, it's going to be quite difficult, I think. Yeah.
Interesting.
But you as well, Kami, because you went to Hong Kong and you learned from someone how to market watches. I seen this and I was like, this is amazing marketing, right? So obviously you got experience, you learned from this person. And that obviously gave you experience so you could start your own business. So, I mean, is that something you thought of doing?
Well, all the way back then. So after I graduated, the reason why I actually moved to Hong Kong, it was quite, I would say it's quite an up and down, okay? It's quite a turmoil, like a wave. So basically what happened was like my uncle, he was diagnosed with bowel cancer. Uh-huh. And when I graduated, I thought I'm going to move to Hong Kong to try working there for a year and also to look after him as well.
Right.
And a lot of people didn't really understand why. And a lot of people said that, you're going to move abroad. You're not even been there like properly. You can't even speak properly. People can tell you've got a twang, that you don't belong there. You're not going to survive. Yeah. And I get all these, negative stuff. And I was like, to be honest, I'm just going to go and see what happens. Like, all I can do is fail. Yeah. Like, or people can laugh at me, like, what else is going to happen? Yeah, it's like what Mr. Chow said in The Hangover, did you die? Did you die? So I've always had that motivation in my head, like, did you die? And I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to go.
That's kind of like what our parents are like, but did you die? Like, I made you work to the bone to study, but did you die?
Did you die?
Did you work a takeaway?
I was like, right, I'm going to go. So I packed up everything and I just went there. While looking after my uncle, I was actually looking for jobs. Yeah. But obviously it's hard to find a job straight away. So I had whatever I saved up to get me by, to survive. And on the side, I done meal preps for people.
All right, cool.
So I can have money to get me by every week while looking for a job and maintaining and, eating, surviving, traveling.
Yeah. Hong Kong's expensive as well, isn't it?
Very expensive. So when I had time, actually, what I spent time on was listening to podcasts, motivational music, audio, you name it, every day and night, so I can reprogram my subconscious, so I can put myself in that mindset where I can do more. Because I think my uncle, what he went through, kind of put me in a space where like I feel like I've been taking my life for granted. I've been, really looked after. Even though my mum and dad, showed it in their own love language, I knew they, wanted the best for me. They wanted to keep me safe. Yeah. And coming out in this world, seeing the place for the first time by myself alone, it's really, what do you call it? Like a lot of pressure because no one's going to be nice to you just because of who you are and whatever. They don't know who you are.
It's crazy as well. Like you're Chinese, but if you go to Hong Kong, you're not seen as Chinese. You're still seen as an outsider because you were born in Scotland. But then me and you were born in Scotland as Chinese, and we're seen as outsiders because we're born in Scotland as Chinese. So there's nowhere, we don't have a home.
Nah, I'm an alien.
Yeah, we're like both aliens, so it's quite hard for both of us growing up, isn't it? It's like
So when I was in Hong Kong, there, like when I had a free time, I went to any startup events that I can. I enter as much competitions as I can, or talks, listen to people who knows their stuff, because I want to I want to learn from these people. So in the way that one day I can have my own business or whatever that I can actually survive on. I don't need to be scared of the boss or scared of doing this and that. Like I can actually have, something that I can really do that I like and have money so I can look after my family. But the thing is, like at that point, I didn't have this much stuff on my spiritual side. At that point, I really just wanted to prove to my parents a lot more than I wanted to just start up with something I liked. So I actually started a watch business with two of the, partners. So they started it first and it was just an idea. It wasn't developed yet. And when I joined, I helped with the branding, the social media, the meetings, went to factories in China. That was a whole new level. I mean, my Mandarin,
that's amazing.
No, Mandarin is not
Well,
on my list.
You still have experience.
So get to see like behind the scenes of how things are put together. And I remember this is what I feel really like proud of is you've heard of like Indiegogo and stuff, haven't you? So through Indiegogo, I created the campaign.
Yeah.
And see that night before, like this is the night before we were about to launch, okay? And at that night, we were working our ass off, trying to get everything all perfect. And maybe because I've got this OCD side of me, I looked at it and I went, okay, you guys don't like certain bits and I'm not happy with it. So give me tonight. I'm not sleeping. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to redo the whole fucking campaign tonight, which I did.
Yeah.
And the next day when we launched it, right, within 47 minutes, it was fully funded.
Oh, damn.
And I felt so good and I slept. I can finally sleep.
When I saw that campaign, it was amazing. Like I saw it online and I was
Thank
like,
you.
Kami did this? Oh, wow, that's crazy. Especially like from a small town. We all both came from like, wow. And there's something that we should probably mention as well. Like you did all this work and you made such impact, but you said you weren't, you didn't have any equity, like you didn't have shares in this company. So you didn't actually take part in the upside of it. So I think it's very important to mention, a lot of people don't know, you also mentioned that you didn't know about business. So in some way, I feel like these guys maybe took advantage of you, getting you to do all this work and not giving you any shares or equity. And you need to ask for that if you're going to help someone, especially at a startup phase. You probably want equity. But I understand that maybe you opted for a salary maybe because you needed to live off something, right?
Yeah, so I think it was at the start because obviously I still had my other previous job as well.
Yeah.
I was doing styling for these Hong Kong celeb people, and then like I turned into one of the singers' designer.
Yeah.
And it was good for like exposure and everything, but that was also draining me. I didn't really feel I felt soulless doing it. And then doing the watch, I felt like, okay, maybe my ego was getting stroked that, okay, it's my own business, I can do well. And then when someone was like, I'll just offer you a salary at the start and that's it. I mean, if you don't have a job right now, that salary can help you. And I thought, yeah, that'll be cool. And maybe after, if we make something with the watch afterwards, I can get something maybe. But I didn't think that far ahead. I wanted people to see my work because I was so... I was wanting to really prove myself. I was so desperate and hungry to prove that I can do this. Like, stop looking down on me.
Yeah, and you did it. Like, you did a really good job, and you can use that experience at least in your next venture, the next thing you do.
Yeah, whatever that may be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, you've already done like I think you did some mental health workshop for Prince's Trust, was that right? And you also did some spiritual coaching for a very successful entrepreneur. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So that was another bit after I left the watch business.
Yeah.
I didn't leave it straight away like that, just how things planned out. I went back to the UK that year for Mother's Day, and my nan then, she didn't feel that well, and I was still working on the laptop doing the content and design while I was in the hospital, sleeping over when my gran, like my nan, we call him gran anyways, when my gran was still in her bed, like recovering, but she didn't recover.
Yeah.
But I still spent time like with my family. And because I keep my word and say, I will do this for you, I had a laptop with me at night time in the hospital while looking after it. I stayed over, I had the laptop because I kept my word. But I feel like, you know what, I'm not going to come back to Hong Kong. I'm going to spend more time with my family, my mum. And long story short, but let's say like I've met a lot of plant medicine healers. I learned about their culture. I mean, I'm a skeptic completely towards that. I was not spiritual at all. I took the piss. Like, I did not believe in this. And I went and done ayahuasca. Yeah, that's a long story short. We'll go to that another
Colombia
day.
Or was
No, that was actually in Hong Kong.
Oh, in Hong Kong.
Before I went back to Scotland.
My friend went to Colombia for that,
Good. So after that, it's really opened me up to who I am. Like, there's nothing for me to really prove.
Yeah.
It's just me. Like, I can't put on a different mask persona anymore. That's just going to drive me crazy. Depression, anxiety. And through that, I found a different path. Like, from studying all this design, all that stuff, all the glam and stuff, like, people think it's a dream job, but I felt soulless. I went towards yoga, meditation, herbalism, because that's what, you know. And then when I went through that, learning about meditation, when you were speaking about the meditation for coaching and stuff like that, I learned about how music can heal. So see, in Chinese symbols, music and medicine, they both look similar, the symbols. That's why they say music is medicine. So Nikola Tesla talks about, you know, energy, frequency and vibration. So that's actually basically how quantum science explains how energy, it travels. And if we listen to these energies or these wavelengths, it can alter our state of consciousness. So if we can actually charge that into our subconscious instead of listening to any like BS on the news or on, you know, whatever you're listening to, that's crap. You basically can recharge yourself and take yourself to your higher state of consciousness by listening to these frequencies. So I studied that. And through that, Prince's Trust, the staff, they had a mental health awareness day. So they invited me to do a coaching session with the staff. And through that, a lot of them opened up about their mental health, about how little they actually done something for themselves. Like, see, if you think about it, us growing up now, okay, and some people may call it the Matrix, whatever, right? When have you had time to play, let's say? I mean, as a kid, you had golden time, playtime, you know, you felt good, you had that time to take a break. But as you get older in life, you don't get that time. And I think...
too busy.
That's the word, too busy. We were so prioritizing making money, chasing this, desires, materialistic. But say if we can actually give ourselves even 10 minutes of that time just to do whatever and be a complete kid or whatever you want to do, I think it makes a difference mentally for yourself. I guess you need to find something that you love to do, that you're passionate about. Like for me, I like to go to the gym, and that I feel like I'm meditating when I'm in the gym. It's a meditative state. I feel like I can relax. In the zone.
So some people meditate, they just sit in a room and just, you know, whether they go hum or or they just not, you know, I think it's different for everyone. It doesn't have to be sitting in a room and, you know, just like hum.
She goes ham, and I'm like, it's not ham, but it's hum. Okay, it's om.
Right,
so
that's
the reason why they say om, so it's actually AUM instead of OM.
Right, okay.
So apparently that's actually the frequency of the universe.
All right.
So if you listen to, let's say, 5 to 8 or 432 hertz frequency, you're actually vibing with the same wavelength as the universe. So nature, you know, all that stuff. Humans, we are actually plants. We're basically nature itself. So if we resonate back and go back to nature to find ourselves, we can actually ground our energies instead of being around all these technology.
It's very stressful. High frequency. You know, just that Wolf of Wall Street.
So like, that kind of stuff, you need to bring yourself back to like your natural state. You can't just be always like, you're not a robot, you're a human being. You're basically a plant that's you know, full of emotions. You need to be watered and loved and fed.
True.
So basically I done that with the Princess Trust. And I got a good feedback out of it, and people shared their views and their stories about their mental health, which they don't really
share it, right?
Because they feel like it's a weakness if you open to people sharing about your mental health.
There's not a environment or area where they can share it, but in that kind of workshop you did, they were able to share that, right? Yeah, that's so important, isn't it? That's crazy.
I mean, think about how scary it must be if you're working with these colleagues and you can't let them know that you're suffering. You're just putting on a mask, smiling every day, saying that I'm fine, I'm great, doing your thing. But when you get home, you're really alone. You're really not yourself. Like, you just can't be who you are because you're so scared that you're going to be judged. But yeah, I've done that. And also, I've done a coaching session with a mentor and a friend. He also does coaching, investing, and helps startups in Hong Kong as well. So he's seen a lot of all these startups and apps being designed, you name it, all these
So he's
events.
very high. He had a high focus environment, and then you were able to bring him down and calm him down, relax. So,
well, I would say that basically it was, so see, if anyone comes to me for a spiritual coaching session or tarot reading, the way I see it is that people only want, let's say, a tarot reading. Not because they believe in spirits or that, I don't see that stuff anyways, but not because they believe there's something there, but I think because they genuinely just want someone to speak to.
Someone to speak to, absolutely. Like if I'm testing in an eye clinic, like I still do some, shifts, testing eyes, because I enjoy it, and it's meeting people as well. The elderly come, like 80 years old, 90 years old, and they're just living at home alone, and they just want to speak to me. They just want someone to speak to, and it's quite sad, but elderly are, very low. There's a lot of really lonely elderly people now, and I've realised that from testing eyes, they just want someone to speak to. And a lot of us in this world, I think not even just elderly, like just people our age, they just want someone to listen to them. And we're not getting that these days because we're all so busy doing our own stuff.
We've just been too caught up with society, social
life
media.
is hard, right? We're all having to work and make money and to survive, that we don't have time, we feel, to look after ourselves or give ourselves time. And I think that's why it's so difficult for everyone.
I think people are wanting to tick the boxes too much. We're desiring too much. We're wanting too much.
Entitled. Maybe we feel entitled to everything.
No, we're not entitled to jack shit. Like, we just...
Obviously we aren't, but I feel like a lot of people do feel entitled to things nowadays.
For all these stuff, but then it's kind of like... You work for what you're entitled to. Yeah. You don't need to say like, oh, I need to have this Ferrari because he has one.
Because,
like...
They see it on Instagram, social media, people with this Ferrari, big house, and they think, I should have that. Why is my life not like that? And I think social media's caused a lot of that, to be honest.
But
anxiety.
But a lot of people should really think about, like, are you happy? Yeah. Like, are you really happy if you have all this stuff stacked up in front of you? Like, when you're living there with all this, all these property, all these cars and all these girls and shit, like, are you really happy? Like, is that what you want to be seen as? Are you actually living your life to the fullest doing that? Or are you just happy just chilling in the woods? You know what I mean? Like, just talking to birds, whatever. Like, everyone has happiness interpreted the wrong way in society because they only look and compare at what other people have.
Comparing what other people are doing and having, and then copying that and then realising it's not what they want.
Yeah, and see, that's why I moved on to doing yoga for the elderly, and I speak about this more, mental health for the elderly as well, because if you go to a care home and you sit down and ask them, what do you want? They would tell you that they want their youth back, just so they can run again.
They usually tell you what they regret as well.
That as well, but think about it, like, if you're sitting there on your deathbed, you can't move your legs, you can't travel, you can't see the world, you can't go and smell the trees, you can't listen to the birds sing. Isn't that what you want the most, to feel life? Not just to lie there and just go, that's me. How many Ferraris going to make you happy if you're just lying on your deathbed? Nothing. You want health. You want to feel alive.
You make a good point, Kami, but I think a lot of guys or people watching, they want to get that Ferrari and then realise it rather than saying, no, I don't need it. I think a lot of people need to experience things to actually understand it. So if they've never had a Ferrari, they won't understand what you're saying. Like, they need to get it. So I think you have to help people to get what they want, and then they have to realise themselves that's not what they want before they can, find out truly what they want, right? So Do you think? Would you agree with that?
Not
Because
really.
if you've never had something, like, how do you know if it's for you or not? If you've never had a Ferrari, how do you know it's what you want or not? If you've never had loads of girls, how do you know it's not what you want or not? Like, you know.
To an extent, I agree with that, actually.
Yeah,
some people
exactly.
want to experience that, but then I guess some people don't need to experience it. They can just see it for like how they feel, to be like, I don't think that would satisfy me, I'm just going to move on. But some people, because they don't understand themselves too much, they don't know themselves to that certain depth, that they feel like, I want to experience more in order to learn more about myself. I mean, we don't know ourselves completely. Our selves changes every 30 days, you know. I mean, we change what we want to eat every single day, like what we want to do.
I eat the same thing every day. Chicken and rice.
That's really nice.
Broccoli. Yeah. All right,
So like
Kami.
we change all the time. So
All right. I'd like to maybe move on to, upbringing and parents. So as Chinese, born in Scotland, we already kind of mentioned this. Like, obviously, my parents were very strict on education. They would hit me with a bamboo stick if I didn't study. I don't know if you got that experience, getting capital punishment.
sticks, hangers, chopsticks,
Oh, man,
slippers,
so
anything
bad.
they can find. Just
Crazy, isn't it? Well, slippers. Yeah, they throw slippers at you. Oh man.
the oldest gets the worst because they like everyone blames it on the oldest. I feel
The
like
oldest, yeah, no, that's true. I'm the younger one.
so you got babied. You're the golden
No,
child.
I was still traumatized. I still got hit and stuff, but I don't know if it was worse for my brother or not. But
That's
now,
why you moved away.
no, yeah, he did move away. Yeah, that's true. I always moved away as well. Like if I was in uni, I'd move all the way to like Aberdeen. My parents were in Glasgow, so I would like move all the way up just to get away. But yeah, nowadays, like I'm quite distant. I do admit. But I think it's because of my childhood, and I think that kind of leads into my relationships as well, where I can be quite distant as well.
Interesting.
But
Can I ask,
yeah,
what is your love language with parents and relationship? How would you express that?
honestly, Kami, I know people talk about the 5 love languages, and there's a book about it. I did read the book, service,
Okay.
physical. Do you know about that book, right?
Nope.
You don't know about the book?
No, I only read The Alchemist where they talk about different types of love. But
Oh, you're
no,
kidding me.
No,
Okay,
no,
this is the 5 love languages, the actual book telling you the 5 different types of love language that you respond to, right?
okay.
Service, someone doing something for you, and then the physical, like touch, you want to be touched. The other one's like quality time. You want someone is more receptive to quality time being spent with you. Someone's gifts, like giving gifts, like you want you to give them gifts. The other one, I can't remember the other one, but I don't know, man. I don't even know if that's true or not. I think it's kind of bullshit, honestly. Like, I don't think I don't think like if your spouse wanted gifts, that's her love language. You give her gifts all the time. It's not like that's not going to save your marriage. It's a little bit more than that, maybe. But I think all of us get bought into this 5 love languages. So simple, love. Just do this love language, and that's it. Our marriage is saved. There's no magic pill for anything in this world, and people always get drawn to the magic pill, the get rich quick scheme. Everyone gets drawn to that. It's not like it takes time, it takes effort, and people just think it's just one thing, and it's not. Because as humans, we go with the path of least resistance, right? We choose comfort,
Safer.
yeah. So
Survival.
but
What is your love language?
what is
then?
my love language? I mean, if I had to pick, Kami, I would probably say physical. Like I need touch to know that I'm loved.
you're looked after, to know that like that person's there.
Yeah.
That kind of thing,
Yeah.
instead of more like verbal. You know how people
Yes.
like to hear
Yeah.
that, I'm here, I love you, I miss you.
To be honest, if you told me I appreciate you,
That's nice.
I still like that.
That's
if you
nice.
touched me to show that you care, I would like that.
Like the hand, the
I wouldn't say
shoulder.
it's just one thing, Kami. Like I wouldn't say it was just one love language. Like I think it's all of it. Like
No, I meant
it's not
like,
it's not like a magic pill.
No, I meant like, how some people, let's say like parents,
Yeah.
they would give you love language on like, have you ate today?
Yeah.
Are you wearing enough?
Yeah.
That's their love language. Instead of going, I love you, son, you're amazing. Our parents didn't do that.
No, didn't.
Instead of, so I'm just saying in that way, like as an example of a
Yeah.
love language, how would you express your feelings to someone? Because everyone has their own love language. And I think today in society that people get it in such a wrong way, they have this fantasy or idea in the head of what a partner should do for them in order for them to feel like they are doing the right thing in a relationship. But it's not like that. You know what I mean? It's a lot more than that.
My mum and dad, they probably similar to your mum and dad, like Asian parents, they don't really express their love much. Well, what I'm saying is that they don't say it. They don't say it. They would do it. They'd do actions. Yeah. Like they'd buy you stuff like a car, or they'd not maybe. I'm just saying, like they'd buy you stuff, or they'd do stuff for you, like make you food. Yeah. They wouldn't say I love you. They wouldn't hug you. They wouldn't kiss you. Like I never had any of that when I was younger. They would not touch me. They would not. Well, not in that way.
Not touching you, Johnny.
No, they would not hug me. They would not kiss me. You know, because Asian parents, as maybe you know as well, they're very. You know, they just don't express themselves, you know, verbally, or I don't know.
They just do it like out of gesture as much. But see, now that I've gotten older, I felt awkward at the start. Yeah. But I started initiating hugs and kisses to my mum and stuff. And she was wondering, why are you being so nice?
They're like, why? That's so weird. Why are you saying that?
It's because, like, see, going through life on seeing death in front of my eyes, and you know, when people are telling me what they see or what they experience in their deathbeds, it's opened my mind a lot more to life. Like there's always more to learn in life, but that got me when I was around people's deathbeds, even friends.
Yes.
Younger.
That's interesting because, well, unless your mother's on the deathbed dying, you probably never said I love you to her.
I mean, that's really deep. Yep.
I don't think so. I mean, have you said I love you to your parents?
Yes.
You have?
I have.
And what age was that? Like, was it younger, or was it when you're 18?
20s.
20s? Oh, man.
I mean, when we were kids, I think we'd done that. Because we were just like we're childs, we're childlike, we're so innocent, we would do that. But then through that gap, when we're teenage, when we are going to school, we don't do that because we want to be cool.
It's cool, and they think it's weird as well. Like my parents never said it to me, so it's weird if I say it to them.
But now growing up, I actually want to be spontaneous and funny about it and go, "Hi, Mum, I love you." He died.
And she's like, "What? Who are you? Are you Kami?"
She's like, oh.
She's like, oh. She doesn't know how to respond to it.
But now my mum's getting used to it. She's like, "Oh, I love you too." And then she started accepting yoga now, so she's doing yoga and breathing exercises with me.
So this communication is important, isn't it? But I feel like when I was younger, my parents didn't really communicate that well. They would just hit me with a bamboo stick. Yeah, but that's how they communicated. Yeah, but that's just the way they know how to do. They didn't know. No, we didn't know. We don't know how to do these things, you know.
In order to like change that, we must step out of our comfort zone and do it first to break the generation curse, or to break
the generation curse. That's interesting.
Yeah, we call it generation
curse
because every single ancestor has part of their DNA in us as we go on. So there's parts of their stuff still in us, their toxic stuff.
Break the chain.
Yeah, so we need to break the chain and just be someone that we want to be.
I mean, at the end of the day, your parents just do the best that they can, right, for you. They you know that they love you, and they just try to do the best that they know how to do. So you shouldn't really blame your parents for anything. So everyone is just trying to do their best in life, isn't it?
We argue like hell.
You argue like hell?
We argue like hell, especially at work at the takeaway.
Oh yeah, because you're always exposed to each other.
Like all that stuff. But see, after it, she'll be like, "Oh, what you want to eat?" But I think that's our love language. And I think it's really tough.
Arguing is your love language? Like, so is that what you get in your relationships as well? You argue with your boyfriend and stuff?
Oh, I'm still single. I don't have a relationship.
I mean in the past.
Nah, I don't date. But in the past...
It's funny that, because if that's how your parents treated each other, you see it as a form of love, and then you model that as a child. That's what you think is love. So if your parents started hitting each other, or if they honestly, this is serious. Like if your parents start hitting each other, or if you're, if your parents were in an abusive relationship, you will probably tend to get into an abusive relationship yourself. You see it as a form of love.
Because you see it as a form of comfort.
As a child, you can't interpret things that well, but you interpret that, that's your mum and dad, they're fighting. Or maybe fighting is a form of love, so you end up fighting in your relationships as an adult.
As a normality, as a normal thing to have.
You maybe don't realise it, but it's subconscious, you know.
Yeah, it's all in the subconscious. So that's why I think we spoke about this the other day, why certain people can't leave a toxic relationship.
Because it's how comfort. They're subconscious.
Yeah, it's comfort. It's what they know as love.
What they know as love.
And love language. So it's quite a big thing in today's society as well. A lot of people that I know or spoken to, they have been in a toxic relationship that they couldn't get out of because it's what they know.
Yeah. That's sad.
So yeah.
I was in a toxic relationship myself, actually. I don't know how I managed to go into this toxic relationship. I don't know if it's part of my childhood trauma or whatever. But this girl was very controlling. I don't know if it's her or if it's me, but it's funny because I think it does stem from our... I don't even know if it's girl or me, but could be our childhood. I don't know. She was just very controlling. Like if I was at the gym, she'd be like, "Oh, get back home by this time." If I was 1 minute late, she'd be like, "Why didn't you tell me that you were going to be late?" You know, that's
damn.
And I was so used to the relationship, I thought that was normal. But no, I just started losing myself, and it started being getting depressed and losing myself. I was like, this is probably not healthy. And then my friend told me, like, "You're not you, Johnny. Like, you're not you. You're different." Like, and then
you're being programmed.
Yeah, he's like, what's happened to you? And like, I knew it was wrong in the relationship, it was toxic, but I couldn't get out of it because I was just too nice. Like, I didn't want to break off, I didn't want to make her sad. But eventually I managed to get out of the relationship, and I did feel more free and happier. So I want to talk about, Kami, as well, dating and marriage. Like, is marriage something that when you want to do in the future? You want to you want to get married and have kids and stuff? Would you say that that's something you wanted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
And you had a few relationships as well that you thought was going to lead to marriage, right? And they didn't end up that way. Is that right?
Yeah. So all 3 of my serious relationships, every one of them, I wanted it to lead to something serious and long term, but it didn't end that way.
I mean, what all three relationships wanting to lead to marriage, what do you think was the main issue there? Like, do you think that it was your problem, or do you think that it was that guy's problem? Like, each 3 of these guys, it was their fault, would you say? Or was it maybe like you chose, or do you think it's a pattern that you chose guys with toxic attributes? Maybe that's something related to your family?
So who you are and what you do, like, so your energy attracts the same energy back. Yeah. So maybe because I saw, like, my mum and dad, they had a really beautiful love story, I think. They fell in love like when they were like 18. And my dad gave up being like a hairstylist in Hong Kong and moved over here to UK to start from scratch without having any money, anything, just learning how to be a chef. Yeah. Since the day he landed here. So he's been working since then. He's done so much cleaning, even like cleaning toilets, building sewage for the shop, everything. And watching how they can survive that love story together back then as well.
Made you think of, you want your own love story.
I want my own love story. Yeah. And my mum, like, her side of the family didn't agree with my dad because he was so poor. He didn't have money. So my mum's side of the family was like, don't marry him. Yeah. He has nothing.
Asians are like that, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're very focused on money.
But I was like, no, I love this love story. I still believe that there are true.
So you're trying to make it work then, I guess, because it's a love story. You're trying to make it work, and then even though if the relationship was toxic, you would still try your hardest to make it work.
In a relationship, I would give it my all, because I don't see the point of not giving it not giving your all if you're in a relationship. Yeah. There's no point being half-arsed about it. You're either committed or you're not. There's no bullshit about it going, I'm half in today, tomorrow I might be a bit more. You're either committed or you're not. And if you have bad days, you work through it, you speak about it, you be open about it. I don't see the point in hiding from each other.
Would you say that you had quite high standards for guys?
No, actually. In fact, maybe some people think that is a high standard. Okay, because
I think you're quite picky. I do think you're quite picky, yeah.
Right, but I think that if you're going to spend a long term with someone, you might as well be with someone that you can be yourself with and that you feel comfortable with no lying, no hiding. I think that's really honest and really truthful. Like, there's no point being with someone who can fulfill your materialistic needs. I mean, you can make money and buy your own stuff. You don't need someone to do that for you. If you rely on someone to make you happy, you're not truly happy.
And that's an interesting point, because nowadays, with female empowerment and independence, I feel like a lot of women are now making more money than men. Or they're starting to make more money than men, and they maybe focus on careers more than family. So you end up with this situation where a lot of women they get to their 30s or late 30s and they're not married, they don't have children, and it's actually harder for women to have children when they get older, right? And it's all this society's pushing female empowerment, have your own career, be your own woman, make your own money. Where's the gap? Why do you need a man then? Like, why do you need a man then? But then they think they buy into this, and then like they end up lonely with no children at 30, and they wonder, where's my man? Like, where's my high status, high standard man? Like,
at 30, you talking about me?
You're. I don't know. I thought. No, I'm just.
My 30s, Johnny.
Well, you're still quite young, Kami. I would say you are still young. 30 is still young. I think 35, 40s. That's probably getting.
Is that the age where you can bear children? Basically,
yeah,
that's safe,
bear children's probably
kind of
safest. Is like under 35. Under 30 is probably the best.
That's what they say, but I think
nowadays you can.
Yeah, you can go 40 and stuff like that now. But back then it was like the younger the better too. But obviously you can't really just pop a baby out if you've had,
no, that's true. It's easier nowadays. But I think primarily human nature for men, just innately we're brought up biologically to go for the woman that's indicates more youth or beauty. So primarily let's say a man in his 35, 40. And he wants to pick a partner. He's focused on his career. He's made money. He wants to have a family now. He's probably going to go for a 25-year-old girl because in his mind, the 25-year-old girl is probably going to be able to bear his children more healthily. Even if it's not true, this society, we have all these treatments that we can in vitroization, test your baby. One of my friends is. But it's just biologically, like men see youth and beauty as that's what they're primarily attracted to, right? So would you agree that a guy in his 40s, he's got the money, he's focused on his career for all this time, he wants to settle down, would you agree that he would probably go for the younger girl over a girl who's 35 or 30? He'd probably pick the 25-year-old who is more likely to have healthier children, right?
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
I get that there are people like that too, but I think it's really on that person's point of perspective.
Not everyone. I'm just saying like majority.
I know what
majority.
You mean, that there's a lot of people that thinks like that, but really minimum or rare people who wants to just have a genuine relationship instead of just ticking the boxes of going, oh, I want a young partner. I want a kid by this age. I want to get married by this age. Just ticking the boxes. People that are like dating nowadays are looking at more on the surface of things instead of actually wanting to get to know someone properly.
Yes.
And that's why there's a lot of divorce rates, cheating going on.
It's 50% divorce rate actually, yeah.
Well, have you looked into this?
Yeah, I mean, US is 56, UK is I believe it's about 50. And you're not even taking into account people who stay in marriages and are not happy because they're financial or they're comfortable,
Because they don't know each other properly.
Maybe they get married young, or maybe
they just want to tick the boxes without actually getting to know someone properly.
Maybe the parents are forcing them to get married at a certain age. Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you? All the sad things.
Well, I mean, there's loads of pressures on us to get married, especially my parents want to get married, and obviously maybe your parents also want you to get married, right? Yeah. But a lot of your friends, all of our friends are married now, aren't? I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's.
Do you feel pressure? But do you feel pressure? I mean, I get the pressure.
You feel pressure because you're a girl.
I don't feel the pressure as much, but I understand like why people look at me and go, "Why are you still single?"
I think you're picky, Kami. You're picky, and I don't know. You've picked 3 guys. I'm just surprised why one of them didn't turn out well. Like, were they all really bad? Toxic assholes or whatever, or maybe you're attracted to the asshole.
One was abusive. The other one cheated, and the other one just wanted to game.
The other one cheated, the other one wanted to write. And why did you go for these guys? You think initially, like
we started off as friends, and I got to know them a good few years. So I thought that's cool. We know each other to a depth,
right.
And I feel like that's safe for me to be in a relationship, to trust someone, to be close and to be a partner with. But it turns out, I guess, when you're in a relationship, it becomes completely different because you get to know them
for real
in a different side as well.
And then you wouldn't leave the relationship because you wanted to keep committing and trying really hard.
Because I feel like, I'm already committed. I want to be the best girlfriend that I can be and do what I can to just make that person feel loved as much as I can, because I'm genuine and true to you. So I expect the same back. But I guess like even if I didn't get it back, I was like, maybe they have their own reasons, or maybe they just had a hard time on finding ways to express themselves, and I just want to be there for them. And I guess I think my mum taught me that, is just to be nice and just be patient and stuff like that. But I guess I took it the wrong way. Maybe, you know, when I was younger, to feel like, okay, I'm in a relationship, I don't want to ruin things and break things off yet. I want to work on it. I don't want to just leave someone because they shouted at me once. I mean, maybe it went to the 100th time.
Leave them right away. Leave them right away.
They were like,
it's a red flag. That's a complete
why talk to your friends, you know? I think after a certain amount of time that you've been crying and being so sad, you're like, you know what, I've had enough, I'm tired.
Yeah,
I just want
it gets to
like,
a point. And then it gets harder now, like as you get older, to find the right guy.
To be honest with you, like, I've actually been a lot more happier being single, because I get to learn more about who I am.
But you do want to get married and have children eventually.
It'll be nice to, It'll be nice to,
yeah, that sucks, picking the wrong.
But the thing is, like, if you don't go through like the sadness and you don't go through the experience, you won't know who you are now. Because if I didn't go through that, I probably just went with whoever maybe at some point I went, let's get married, and that's it. I'll just stuck with it, and I'll be in a marriage that I'm unhappy with, and I'll just stay with it.
Yeah, because there's divorce rate is really high.
And the thing is, like, hurt people. So when people are like being controlling, abusive, or they want to cheat and stuff like that, sometimes, I'm not saying they're all wrong. I mean, it goes out to everyone. If you have broken up with someone and they've betrayed you, if they've done something bad to you, you're not the person to gossip about them back. You don't need to like take revenge on someone back. That's who they are, not who
just
you
let
are.
them go.
And just go that, you know what, it's better off that I forget that this even happened. Because when I came back from Hong Kong working, right, I came back, a friend was like, oh, remember you dated such and such? And I'm like, who? And I was like, all right, I was 18. Like, all right. You still remember that? So it shows you how many people love to gossip, and how many people like to stay in the same story. But since you moved on in life, you're working on yourself, you're concentrating on yourself. You don't have time to deal with all this past stuff. About
this cheating thing, you said once that you would be okay if the guy just owns up to it, right? As if he's just honest that he cheated, then you would have stayed in that relationship. Is that what? Because that's what you said to me. But a lot of guys, they're not honest with themselves about what they want. Or, I mean, a lot of cultures, like I know, like in Russian culture, like the husband would cheat and the woman would just turn a blind eye on it. You know, even Beyonce, Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, but they're still together because Beyonce just worked on it, accepted and worked on it. And then obviously David Beckham, Victoria Beckham, you know, David cheated on Victoria. They just had a documentary out, by the way, and, you know, they're still together. So, I mean, like, cheating is kind of like, I mean, for guys, they kind of think with their dick, right?
Yeah.
They kind of want variety. It's kind of primal, Primal, they just want to have sex, I guess. Primal, that's the word. Primal. And then women are obviously different. And so I heard this thing where that, if men cheat, it's just for variety. They just, you know, it's just primal. And then if women cheat, it means that the woman wants to leave the relationship. She's not happy in it for whatever reason. No, I disagree with that. You disagree? Why is that? From experience and clients that I've spoken to, there are a mix of both men and women that cheat because they just want to. So you're saying monogamy is not natural, that people, you know, everyone cheats or wants different sexual partners? Is that what you're saying? No, I think that it happens in both sides. It's not because men does it, you know, more. That kind of thing. It happens in women as well. I'm not, you know, not being biased. Well, what I'm saying is that women cheat for a different reason biologically than men do. Men usually cheat because they're just men. They want to. You're talking about empathy and like feeling, because like women have the nurturing side of the motherly side that they want to just nurture. So, Kami, let me ask you this. Like, if your boyfriend said that, I want to see other women, and, you know, would you let him do that? Would you just end the relationship? Or would, you know, he doesn't feel like he can talk to you about that, so he just ends up cheating, and then you found out that way, and then that relationship ends anyway. So, if your boyfriend said that to you, I want to see other people, you know, I want to see another girl, but I still love you and I want to still be with you, would you accept that?
That is bullshit. So that's what I think. Like, if you love someone, you want to be with someone, you won't choose a second person.
So you would say no, like, no, you can't see someone else.
Yeah, so that's already you betraying someone. But
so then he'll end up cheating, and then the relationship ends anyway.
Yeah, so it happened in a story, like my own previous relationship, that someone did.
Yeah.
And I said that I found out.
Yeah.
You always find out.
Yeah.
There's a Chinese saying that, like, you can't wrap fire with paper.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So I found out what happened, and I said to him that, are you able to just tell me the truth? Man the fuck up. Tell me that you done it.
Cheated.
I mean, you done it. Why don't
Right.
you just admit it? Just be a fucking man. Stop pussing out of it. And if you can admit that you done it, just move the fuck on and work on it together.
So you would move on and work together.
Yeah, because you made a mistake.
But what if he said he wanted to do it before he did it? Would you let him?
Then I'll be like, what's the point in us being together?
No, but then you're saying he did it, and then if you just owned up, then you would have stayed together.
Yeah, because he did it, and then he owned up to know that he done the wrong thing of betraying a relationship.
But before he does it, and he owns up and says, I want to sleep with this other girl, you'd say no anyway.
Yes.
So how is that the case that after he's done it, and he's like, oh, I did it, you'd be like, oh, let's work on it, and that doesn't make sense.
Maybe to you it doesn't make sense, but when it happened to me, like, obviously it's going to be weird if, like, your boyfriend just go up to you and be like, hi, I want to cheat. You'd be like, obviously, no, you're my boyfriend. You don't want him to cheat. But because, like, he done that, you know, as a mistake, you know, whatever.
As a mistake, right?
As a choice.
She'd rather
without me knowing, and I found out.
Do it with, and then ask for forgiveness
And,
after.
yeah, if he understands that, okay, what I done was wrong, I still want to be with you, okay?
Cool.
And I want to show you that I am serious. I wouldn't like hurt you again.
I actually would say,
because you don't know what you've got until you lose it, right? You don't know what you've got until it's gone. And some people have that regret.
So can you say, like, how you, I mean, what consequences did that have on you, him going and cheating? Can you, because you told me about something that happened. Can you go into that?
What do you mean, like a story that happened?
No, like you found out a different way, because obviously if someone goes and cheats, right, they're at risk of infections.
Of that kind of stuff. So let's say, like, I'll give an example, like if a client, let's say they didn't feel well, they found out because you know, you're intimate with your other partner, so you don't feel well, and you would, let's say, go see a doctor, and you find out, okay, there's something wrong, but this only happens if, let's say, you're in a pool full of bacteria swimming in it, or either your other half. So, and he just went away to a holiday, a lad's holiday, but they don't want you to know about anything that happened. But the thing is, I'm actually quite friends with the guys, and they actually wanted me to go on the holiday, but the boyfriend was like, no, I want my guy time. So I wanted to give him the space and let him have fun with the guys. I'm quite open that way, that I take a step back and give him the space. If he needs, then go for it, have fun. But I think when you're too nice and too giving all the time, people overstep you. They just step on your kindness and they take the piss.
You need to have boundaries.
Yeah, so through that, when you found out, they still denied it. And I'm like, well, if you're going to deny it and you feel like you didn't do anything wrong, then I don't want to continue this because I feel like there's no point. It's hurting me. I mean, I'm already stressed over it, insecure, you know, upset.
Well,
and you know what? And then obviously the person was like, well, it's your loss.
It's your loss, right? Okay.
I was like, cool story, bro, bye. So I'm not going to disrespect myself anymore.
No, I'm just saying, like, this guy, he goes and does this, right? You know, obviously it's important for him to be hygienic and I'm just saying, like, obviously you're gonna, you know, protect yourself so that you don't bring home an STI or something, right? But if you spoke about this beforehand, like, okay, hubby, you can go do it, but just protect yourself. I know it's your primal desire, like, and then, you know, I'm not going to be able to stop you. You're just going to cheat anyway, so just make sure you're protected. And then I'll probably, you know, we'll work it out. We'll stick together, work it out. This is what you want.
Well, I mean, in this world, there are people with addictions.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess if they had a relationship with someone they actually love, but they have an addiction, the wife or the husband should work on it with them and be like, I'll want to help you and go to the
it's not even
cause
addiction.
of it.
Like, in general relationships, they just want a one time to try something, because men want variety, is what I said
Then what's
initially.
the point committing yourself to someone and giving your vow going, I promise to be here for life?
Well, then there's no point then. Then
Exactly.
no man should do that.
It's like a stage. It's full of shit.
No man men should commit, then no men should get married. As you said, divorce rate's 50%, so what's the point?
I mean, there are people that are wanting to look for love and depth.
I feel like guys are just not honest, as you said. Like, they want to see other girls, but they're just not honest about it. And then they end up cheating, right?
That's what you think, guys are not honest.
Well, they just have to tell what they want, and they just feel like they can't, you know. Because and they end up cheating.
They don't want to get into trouble.
And it gets worse. They give you an STI.
That's sad. If you
like, just talk about it openly. Why don't you be honest? It's just, geez. Hygienic. Okay.
But I still think, like, honestly, Johnny, like, I feel like in this world, if there are people that are genuinely in love with each other, and they're wanting to,
and they want to work on
it together.
But there has to be the communication channel. You have to speak about your desires, your wants, and you have to work on it together.
You just need to be who you are. Yeah. That's literally it. And the person that you're in love or you're in a relationship with should be able to accept you for the good and bad, because you have days to get by together, and if that's the person you want to walk with till the end of your days because you made a vow to and you made that commitment, then
we're talking about marriage now, right? So that's complete. That's marriage, right? Vows and marriage. So as you said, divorce rate is 50%, so should we get married at all is another question. If
you do find the right person that you do enjoy being yourself around, then yeah. But if you can't find anyone that you can be yourself around, then
I don't even know why you need a contract. Like, why do you need to tell the government, like, me and you are married now? Like, why can't you just have a private ceremony? Okay, you're together. Why does it need to be signed contract? Like, I don't understand why that is required. Like, it's your own private thing. Why does the government need you to sign a contract to say you're married? Like, it's just, to me, that doesn't make sense.
I mean, it makes money.
It makes money. It's true. Wedding makes
a lot of money.
Wedding makes a lot of money.
And plus, like, see, since the day you're born, you're actually the government's product, because it says in your birth certificate you've got a code.
I think a lot of women want weddings, right? Like, I mean, I think the woman wants a wedding more than the man. Because it's not like a guy is born and he's like, I want to get married. A guy isn't like a teenager and he's like, when I grow up, I want to get married. Well, they're usually like, I want to be a fireman or a, astronaut. I want to be.
That's what I wanted to be. I was quite a tomboy, but yeah.
Well, you were a tomboy, yeah. Most girls, I think most girls would be like, her dream is to get married, have a wedding, have their father there. So I feel like it's more of a woman thing than a man's thing, because men can tend to want to,
I think it's been programmed into a lot of people. Have you see like how children's toys are? You get the baby toys for the girls it's programming
for the wedding and then,
to stay at home, to work with holding the baby. You don't see that in guys' toys, do you? It's a programming to the
Action
subconscious.
Man or Superman.
So up to the age of 7, it's easy to program a child into thinking what they want to believe in.
The Barbie movie is programming us. I haven't seen it, but I don't even want to watch it. So it's like women should, you've seen it.
I have seen it.
Yeah, I think that's programming children young age. And I don't know if it's a good message or not, but it's a funny movie, but then they have these serious points to it.
Everything has a subliminal message into it.
Subliminal message, yeah. I don't even know if it's good or bad. But anyways, Cam, I want to do this test. Can you put on that website, like, it's called I Got Standard. I want to do this test with you, Kami.
I've got standard? Oh my God.
Yeah, no, because as you said initially, you have a certain, you didn't have standard, or you had.
Is that on the screen there?
Yeah, it is on the screen. So it's like, Kami, so if you're going to find a guy to marry, what age would you want him to be? What range? So this has got a range here. Can you give a range?
What age should I be? Or
no, the girl, your ideal man that you'll get married, have kids with. What age range should he be in?
I think older than me.
Okay.
I've not thought about what age, to be honest, because I'm not that picky.
30 to 40 then.
So I'm 31. So let's say 32, 33 to 38.
33 to 38. Okay, Cam, you put that in? Okay, and then the next one's race. So exclude married. It says exclude married. So obviously the guy has to be not married, right?
Duh.
Yeah, click exclude married, Cam. Because Cami doesn't want it to be married, that guy. So race. Cami, does the race have to be Asian, white, black, or does it matter?
See, now when I was younger, I dated a half.
Black man.
No, I dated a...
Oh, you don't want him to be black then? No. Right, okay.
I dated a white guy and I dated a half white, half Chinese.
Okay.
And Chinese. But now, actually, I prefer Asian now.
Asian? Right, Cam,
I prefer Asian now.
And then minimum height. What minimum height does he need to be?
Fucking taller than me, man.
Taller than you, right.
So above 5'7".
5'7".
Above.
Above 5'7". So 5'7" is the minimum, Cam. And then does he can he be obese?
I feel sorry for Cam right now listening
It says
to this
exclude
shit.
obese. So is it okay if he's obese, Cami?
No.
It's not okay. Okay,
But
so
I can help him. If I'm
You
in
can
love, I can help him. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
but you don't want him to be obese, right? So exclude obese then, because you don't want him to be obese.
I mean, if yes, I can help him with it. Maybe he's got problems
But
that I can.
let's say you can't help him. He's just going to be obese. So he's just going to be obese as a medical condition.
We
so
can't
we've
run in the house together. No.
So you wouldn't. So yeah,
No.
you can't run the hill. So you have to exclude obese. We have to exclude obese, Cam. And then minimum income. What's the minimum income you have to make a year, Cammy?
It's got nothing to do with me.
Just pick a number. Like, I mean, average is like 20,000 a year, I would say.
Put an average on.
So you're okay with a guy making 20,000 a year to bear your children and bring to your family?
Got nothing to do with me.
Nothing to do. So you'll be the one working 7 days a week, making the money.
Well, I would like to believe that I can actually earn money enough to look after myself right now. But see, if we have children together,
Yeah.
we have a commitment together.
Yeah.
And if he wants to provide, that's up to him. I don't want to be like one of the.
But
one
if
of
you're
the
having a
girls who-
baby, you're going to have to stay at home and he's going to have to work.
I can work at home. I mean, at the end of the day, it's
You're
a lot
gonna
of
be
pressure
quite-
on the guy. Think about it. It's a lot of pressure on the guy, right? If I say, hey, look after me. Hey, buy a house for me. Hey, can you change
I mean,
the
it is
diapers?
guys' duty these days to work. And I mean, we're built.
It would be nice too. But I don't want to be so demanding to my other half when he's already got a pressure on him working and his own little circle of
Well,
problems.
Cammy, you're not going to marry a homeless person who makes no money. So there has to be some
average,
money.
Average.
Average. So
I-
Cam,
I
what's
would-
that? Cam, do you know the average? Let's say average guy makes 30,000
Okay,
a
go
year.
for that.
30,000 is in dollars, but it's quite similar. So Cam, let's put 30,000 is 33,000 is average, I think. Okay, and then we'll find out how much percentage of men in the world meets these standards. So the probability is 0.61% of all Asian men in that age range. Oh, that is 8. What's that say? 8.5.
You sure don't need glasses, mate?
Okay, so 0.61%, that is 8.5% of all Asian men in that age range. Yeah.
Is that a good or bad thing? Can't
Well,
really
it's
see.
basically saying, Cammy, that go back up, Cam. So
But there's 4 bags out of 5 bags that are
no,
highlighted.
that's nothing to do with it. So basically, the 0.61% of the population meets your standards, Cammy. So that means there's not a lot. Like Glasgow is 400,000 people, right? And 0.61% of 400,000 is like 1,000 guys.
So be it. I'll be alone with like
Right.
10 cats. I'm happy
You're
with
also
that.
competing with 18 to 30-year-old women.
90.
No, like let's say you're 30.
19.
Let's say you're 31, and girls, those men might want to go for a younger girl who can bear children, like 18 to 30, right? So it makes that's what I'm saying. It's quite hard. It's going to be quite hard. Well, if you move to London, that might be.
Or I move to Hong Kong.
Hong
again.
Kong is more people.
I mean,
It's
a
a 10
mixed
million.
race of people all in Hong Kong doing like
10 million, 0.6% of
ambitious
10 million
stuff.
people.
Spirituality is a big thing in Hong Kong. You never know that it can spark off something with someone.
Maybe, yeah, move to Hong Kong.
I'm not that bothered,
Not
to be
bothered.
honest. Like, if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to force it just because society wants me to, just because my
But
family
it gets
wants me
harder as you get older, right? Because it doesn't.
to. Yeah, it does,
Yeah.
maybe. But then that's
The
for me.
chances that 0.6% just goes down to 0.5.
You never know. I'll believe in fate.
Just don't get married, Cammy.
Come on, you can't be so sad and grim all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I might
I'm
walk
just looking.
out
I'm just
there.
looking at statistics, Cammy. Just
I
looking
might
at
walk out the
statistics.
door right now and someone might be like, "Hey, Kami."
Well, after this podcast, you will like, "Hey, Cam." After this podcast, feel like, "Cammy, I'm here for you. I'm the 0.6%.
I can't
I'm
do it.
5'7".
I'm quite awkward. I don't know if I can go on dates, man. I really can't
You can't what?
go on dates.
You can't go on dates. So you don't want to
you
get
know-
married. You want to be a widow with a cat.
No,
Basically.
like I've downloaded like dating apps before, and I feel like it's so cheesy,
Well, I've seen your dating, your pictures, Cammy.
judgmental as fuck. Yeah,
I don't know. I just think you. We'll get. Studies have shown that men swipe right on women who show skin. Like,
flesh.
yeah, like it's just primal. Like guys are attracted to that.
Primal.
And all your photos had a lot of clothes on.
I mean, it's cold in Scotland.
Yes, that's true.
What do you expect?
But-
I want to look for a date in Scotland.
I know,
it's
man.
cold in
It's so weird.
Scotland.
Like, if I'm on a dating app, every girl I see is like bikini, bikini, bikini.
Wait,
What?
wait. So you're trying to tell me that for me to get a date, I need to get my bikini?
No, I'm just saying that it'll get more
Go,
attention.
yeah.
Like, I'm just saying you don't have to be a bikini. Maybe like just show a bit more skin, and then maybe more guys will swipe. Is what I'm saying. It's just primal. It's not like every sleazy guy is going to swipe on the bikini, right? I mean, even normal guys are going to do it as well because they're just.
Mostly.
It's not mostly. It's universal. It's universal, Kami.
Well, I think I would rather stick with someone that would like me for who I am.
Right, okay.
That's so funny, Johnny.
I'm just saying statistically it might be difficult because the guy will end up, your ideal man, the 0.6%, will probably swipe on the girl with the bikini who's 18 years old, is what I'm saying. Right. All right, okay, let's move on.
That's your point of perspective.
My point of perspective. No, it's just statistics. It's literally statistics. Studies have shown that guys swipe right on girls with bikinis or cleavage. And also, as I said, 0.6% of men are in your... Yeah. It's just statistics. I'm not, like, it's not my thought or anything.
I know, but oh well.
So, business, career, and mission. So, Kami, what would you say is your... So we talked about this, the hierarchy of needs. Like, Cam, are you able to bring up the diagram of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Is that possible?
How much things have you brought on this for statistics and stuff?
Man, it has to be statistics. It has to be science, right? Because otherwise we're just guessing, isn't it?
But sometimes it's good to actually put in your own point of perspective because 70% of the information that you read online might not be true.
I mean, I just want to have the most chances. Like, if I'm going to bet on a roulette and I know that I'm going to lose 1%, I'm going to lose 99% of the time, I'm probably not going to play that game.
So your brain is wired in a percentage kind of perception.
I'm a maths nerd. Like, I did advanced higher maths and I got the prize for advanced higher maths in my high school. So I'm very data and statistics orientated.
I used to roll downstairs thinking I can fly multiple times. I think that's done something to my brain. But yeah, move on. What is this?
So you are very spiritual and you talk about... So that's in the self-actualization category at the top. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs basically means that we first want to satisfy our physiological needs, our air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing. We want to have that, that in place first before we think about spirituality stuff. And then safety needs is the next one, where we want security, we want to be employed, we want to be healthy, and property, have a place to stay. Then the next one is love and belonging, where we have some friendship, some intimacy with a partner, family, sense of connection. So I feel like the reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like a lot of us in this day and age, we skip, safety, love, and then go straight to self-actualization. Like right now, let's say, Kami, you're not married and you don't have the love and the family, the intimacy part, right? And then you skip to self-actualization. Like, you're skipping a need in the hierarchy. So maybe you should focus on the intimacy and then go in self-esteem. What do you think?
It's too robot-like for me.
Too robot-like.
I'd rather go with the flow and be a human being and just be
whatever.
Just be in the being, be in the moment, and just be who you are instead of trying to follow.
Not this. I'm just saying, like, it's human nature. This is what Maslow said was human nature, and like our grandparents, like they were fighting wars and stuff, right? And they couldn't think about self-actualization and stuff. They just had to fight the war. They had to survive. They had to know that they would be alive tomorrow, and they didn't have the privilege to think about spirituality. And nowadays, because we're no longer in that age, we're not fighting for our lives, and we are able to think more about things like, what's our gender? Am I a woman? Am I a man? Am I a transgender? Whereas your mom and your grandparents could not have that privilege to think of what their gender is. They just had to fight the war and survive. But nowadays, as children, would you say that we're maybe a little bit softer and that we're a bit more comfortable, that we have everything we need? We can Google any answer we want. We can say, Deliveroo, send me this food in 5 minutes. We're pretty uncomfortable, right?
Have you seen the movie WALL-E?
WALL-E?
Wally?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
You know how everyone that's
Is
on
obese.
their chubby chairs,
Yeah.
and they just on the screen.
Yeah.
That's what's happening right now.
That's what's happening right now.
My grandpa fought in the war when he was 8,
Yeah.
and then my gran, she watched her parents being killed by soldiers.
Oh, wow.
Think about how they felt. How can you live through that trauma? And nowadays, we are upset because someone called you a chicken leg and you're a vegan, and people cry about it online.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, okay, I'm a pescatarian. I've done the vegan thing before, and if my mum made a Chinese soup and there was like pork in it, I'm not going to cry about it.
No,
I'm just
you
going
have
to drink
something
it.
to eat, right?
But I just
Yeah.
don't have the craving to eat the meat. That's it. But I mean, we are spoiled brats.
We're pretty spoiled nowadays.
in this generation, we're really spoiled, and the next generation,
Even more
what's
spoiled,
going to
right?
happen? Because we're trying to be so careful with them.
Yeah.
Like, we're
you don't want
so
to
careful.
offend them, right?
No, you don't want
Hurt
to.
their feelings.
Just in case you hurt their feelings. But our parents, our grandparents just said stuff to us without
Yeah.
thinking about our feelings, because that didn't exist back then, about thinking about your feelings. That didn't exist. You just get your stuff done. You
Yeah,
make the money,
just
you
get it done.
survive, you have something to eat, and that was it.
So where does this fit in, Kami, with mental health, spiritualization? Like, if the guy's homeless, or if the guy is just not making enough money that he wants, he shouldn't really be thinking about spiritualization and stuff like that, right? I mean, he should just get a job, or he should just focus on getting the property, as it said, and the needs. He should just work on himself, right? I mean, not. He should maybe just.
That's right. Working
Yeah,
on
you
yourself.
think so?
That's also spirituality. Spirituality is not sitting there going, oh, more ham all the time. Spirituality
I mean,
is
like
actually
this guy, if he's homeless, he probably doesn't have time to go more.
Yeah, but
probably has do some work, get some work done.
But that's also you getting to know a bit more about yourself. That's spirituality. Like, it's your own point of perspective what spirituality is. It's what makes you you. What makes you find yourself? What makes you feel like you are being you right now in the present, not in the future overthinking about your anxieties, not in the past when you're, suffering from your depression. You're in the present moment.
Do you think people were depressed in our grandfather's days? Like, there's so much depression nowadays, right, in the modern day, but do you think our grandmother who were fighting the wars had the privilege to say, I'm depressed?
They had no time to
They
be
had no
depressed. They had no time to overthink about what people are thinking about them. They have no time for this nonsense. We have
Yeah.
too much time right now. We're too privileged, too spoiled. That's why we are suffering so much, because we keep comparing ourselves with society.
Maybe we're just too comfortable, and that's why these things, depression comes up, because we're not needing to hunt. We don't need to go out to the wild and hunt for food, which is what we did in the ancient times, and that kind of is primal, right? The man hunts, brings food home, and they're working in a tribe.
We need to move.
We need to move, yeah. We need to do something.
I mean,
right?
we are technically plants and trees, but then we have legs, we can move.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, we can't make our body function.
Yeah.
We can't give the needs to our body to move
Yeah.
and operate.
But we're actually just stuck at home, working online, calling food to deliver to us. We're not doing any of that stuff that we used to do.
And if you're using, let's say, if you're not exercising or using your body as much, it's kind of like, so what happens to your muscles, right? It's kind of like a moisturizer. It has
what?
this
A
moisturizer.
moisturizer.
Okay, think about a moisturizer. The more you exercise and move, it moisturizes your muscles. But the less you
Yeah.
move it, you know how people get really stiff, they can't lift their arm
Arthritis.
when they get older? It's because they don't move. It's
Exercising.
Not,
Yep.
it's not that because you're old you can't move. It's because you stopped moving.
Yeah.
That's why you become old.
Also, like food, right? We eat
Yes.
a lot of fats and
Food is
oil.
medicine.
Whereas ancient times, when you're hunting, you'd eat meat, just plain meat, right?
Meat and fruit.
Fruit, yeah, vegetables. But nowadays we have all kinds of foods that we just click a button and it comes to us. So that's probably why we're all suffering and messed up, right? Because we're so comfortable.
Well, you do. I don't know if you heard about this, about you are what you eat. So obviously food is information. So if you look at like tomato, it's actually in the shape of it relates to like a heart.
Oh yeah.
And then walnut, what's that for? The brain.
Oh,
Blueberry
yeah,
Asian is
sure,
for the
yeah.
eyes. See, if you start looking at nature
Yeah.
and relating it back to ourselves, it's actually we're eating information and we're actually helping our bodies heal through this information.
That's a good point, yeah.
But when we abuse our body with crap,
Yeah.
we're going to come out with crap. We're going to think about crap. We're going to act like crap. We're going to feel like crap.
Yeah. That's crazy. So how do you think people Well, I guess we've concluded that we just need to get out. We need to exercise. We need to move. We need to eat healthily if we want to get out of this depression. But it's so easy just to take a pill, antidepressant pill, and that's it. We're no longer depressed. But it doesn't actually work because over time you need stronger dosage of the pill, and it can lead to weight gain. And it doesn't actually work. It's just the magic pill never works. There's never a magic pill.
Have you heard of what Joe Dispenza said? Like, so basically, there were like two groups of people. Let's say we put them in a room, and they both, let's say, they suffer from a headache.
Yeah.
And you give them, these two groups, a pill to take to relieve them of their headache. One group was given a sweetie, but they've been told it's a medicine. They don't know it's a sweetie. The other room was given an actual, painkiller to help aid their headache.
Yeah.
And they both recovered from it. Because our subconscious, our mind, when we believe in something, it happens to our body. We have the ability to heal. So if we're able to look for the right things, to take in the right information to our body, we can actually help look after our body and heal. And therefore, it will get rid of more of these anxiety and mental health stuff that's happening because we're looking after ourselves physically, what we're eating in, what we're thinking.
Yeah, we definitely have to think,
and we're getting to know more of ourselves. Instead of comparing, looking at the future. That's why it causes anxiety. When you look back in the past, you have depression. That's why it's called deep rest. Depression.
All right, okay.
Deep rest.
Yeah.
Deep rest.
I didn't think of that way before, but that's interesting. Yeah, and obviously our grandparents they couldn't think, right? They just had to do. And nowadays we have a lot of time to think.
Actually, I want to ask you, how do you control your anger? How do you control, what's your mental health advice in your way? How do you cope?
Well, as I said,
your way?
I mean, going to the gym helps a lot with me.
Yeah.
I mean, getting sun exposure 10 minutes a day, I felt has improved my mood because you're getting natural vitamin D rather than taking it through a pill. That's usually not
Naturally.
as effective. Yeah, naturally is good. That's kind of how I relieve. And then I just like to work. I like to do stuff. Like I don't sit and just go,
Or overthink.
No, I don't I try my best not to overthink and I just do stuff. And I think that's helped.
What happens to when there are moments where you actually do sit there and there are negative thoughts in your head? Like what has happened before and how did you cope with it? Or have you got an example?
Oh, yes. I mean, like, yeah. I've done like seminars or workshops where we have to deal with our traumas, childhood traumas and stuff like that. And a lot of them, like you just sit there and you kind of feel what's coming up, what's happening. And when you're sitting still like that, I mean, there's a quote I heard, I don't know who it's from, but it says that if a man can sit in a room for 30 minutes and do nothing, then all the problems in the world would go away. And I think a lot of people can't sit in a room still and think of nothing for 30 minutes. Something comes up and it urges them to do something. They just can't sit with their own thoughts or their selves.
That's interesting because see, when I teach meditation, people say to me that, Kami, I can't not think of anything.
Yeah.
And I said that this is how I teach meditation. Allow yourself to watch your thoughts like a movie. Sit there because you are being programmed to be like this and that person, listen to this and becoming this person, right? But have you ever sat with yourself? Because you're going to spend the rest of your life with yourself in here, right? Yeah. You're your biggest investment.
Yeah.
But if you're able to sit with yourself and watch, understand who you are when you're watching through all these memories, all these movies going past, then once you get to understand who you are and what you really think about, or even write it down, once you look back on it, you actually begin to realise that these are actually past events or my overthinking brain about future events. I'm actually here right now.
Present,
and once you understand that you're here right now in this physical place,
it's really hard to do that. Yeah,
it's hard, but it's a practice.
I'll tell you one thing. Like I did this thing called a Vipassana retreat for 10 days where we go.
Wow.
You know about it?
No.
Oh, you don't?
I'm just surprised that you actually did a retreat.
No, yeah, I did. So I went to kind of like a forest in Hertfordshire in England. It's free. Vipassana is free. You can do it. All people from all walks of life go there, even homeless people. You get free food. It's just based on donations. And I did meditation 9 hours a day. And it was just sitting there by yourself. Well, sometimes we're by yourself and sometimes it was in a hall with everyone there, but you can't speak a word. Nobody can speak for the whole 10 days. and you're only eating potatoes, like clean foods.
Monk.
Yes.
Diet.
And you can, no meat. And you can't have electronics. All your phones and stuff are confiscated when you go in. And you're just meditating 9 hours a day. And on the third day, I was crying. Like, I was very uncomfortable sitting by myself. Things just kept coming up, past traumas. One lady had to get thrown out because she was just making so much of a commotion, crying, because she was disturbing everyone's meditation. The third day was really difficult, and then the fourth day got a bit easier, fifth day got a bit easier. By the 10th day, I was like, yeah, it feels good to sit by myself, and that helped a lot. By just sitting through it. Nobody would sit through 3 days of meditation and sitting by themselves. Nobody would do that. Well, not nobody, but most people will not. And that's the issue. I think we're all so busy these days working, and we don't have that time for ourselves.
We neglect ourselves.
Neglect ourselves.
We neglect ourselves for like our time off, the playtime, as you call it, or the golden time. We neglect ourselves.
Yeah.
That's when we lose ourselves. That's really interesting.
Yeah. The funny thing is that after the 10 days, we could speak. And then I was like, oh, I know you. Like, we all knew each other because we all were familiar with their routine and what they did and how they moved. And we're like, I feel like I've known you for like 10 years. Like, even though I've never spoken a word to you in the 10 days. Like,
beautiful.
And then we're all exchanging information, and like, we're just like best friends. And we didn't even speak to each other for 10 days. But we ate together. We didn't speak. We just ate together, sat together, watched each other. It was a really
Do you not
crazy
find that
experience.
beautiful as like a human experience of we actually can get to know each other without all the BS, without all the surface? It's just being.
I would definitely say everyone to try it and do it.
So what is this retreat called?
Vipassana retreat.
Vipassana retreat.
Yeah. So Kami, we've got 2 minutes left. So I'd like to say thanks so much for coming on this podcast. I think it's been a really interesting conversation, and it could be quite useful or helpful to some people, especially like Asians like ourselves growing up, seeing us with our colour of skin. I think they might relate a bit more and have like a role model, I guess. I didn't have that growing up. Well, my dad was always working and hitting me with a bamboo stick. But so Kami, where can people find you if they wanted to learn more from you?
Well, first of all, right, Jon, I want to say thank you for actually getting this done and actually doing your own podcast, because I think it takes a lot for someone to say, I want to do something, and actually to execute it. So that's quite inspirational for quite a lot of people. And as a friend as well, seeing you grow, I think it's really amazing.
Thanks.
So I wish you all the best on this journey as well. And I hope to see more of you doing more podcasts.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
also you actually did inspire me as well to do podcasts, because that's what I actually wanted to start with, more people in the holistic side of things to do podcasts.
I think a lot of people would want to hear what you have to say, so you should definitely do it.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Journeying with Kami. That's it, really. And you can find my holistic photography, event stuff, and my art stuff there as well.
Perfect.
And I have got a cat bag for you for your birthday. It's also Johnny's birthday.
Oh, yeah, it's my birthday, yeah. You know I like cats.
Yeah, so I got you a birthday, but it's in the car. I'll get you later.
All right, cool. Yeah, looking forward to just watching more of watching your podcasts and seeing your journeying with Kami.
It's not a manic journey, but yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, for everyone who is interested, just stay tuned with Jon Owly Podcast. You can find me at Jon Owly on Instagram. That's it, yeah. So thanks, Kami.
Thanks, Johnny.
It's been amazing. Yeah.